Hello and welcome to Story Time. Today our theme is donuts. How many of you like donuts? What is your favorite kind of donut? What color is your favorite? Well, our first story is if you give a dog a donut. Now I hear some letter sounds here. What is the first sound of dog? D, d, for letter D. You're right. And donut has the same sound. D, d. They both start with D. And this story is written by Laura Numeroff. If you give a dog a donut, he'll ask for some apple juice to go with it. When you give him the juice, he'll drink it all up. Then he'll ask for more. There won't be any left, so he'll want to make his own. He'll go outside to pick apples. When he's up in the tree, he'll toss you one. Throwing the apple will make him think of baseball. He'll want to play. You'll have to get a ball and a glove. Of course, he'll also need a bat. He'll ask you to pitch. He'll hit a home run. Then he'll do a happy dance to celebrate. Dancing will make him hot and dusty, so he'll need some water. He'll probably start a water fight. You'll have to dry him off with your bandana. He'll wrap it around his head and pretend he's a pirate. Then he'll want to go on a treasure hunt. He'll find an old kite and want to make one himself. You'll have to get him some sticks, paper, and string. When the kite is finished, he'll want to go fly it. It will go higher and higher until it gets tangled in the apple tree. The tree will remind him of apple juice, so he'll probably ask you for some. And chances are, if he asks for some apple juice, he'll want a donut to go with it. Our next story is called Please Mr. Panda by Steve Anthony. And we're actually going to read 2 Mr. Panda books by Steve Anthony today. And Mr. Panda, what do you think he does for a job? Look at the picture. He makes donuts. He's a baker. Would you like a donut? Give me the pink one. That wasn't very good manners, was it? No, you cannot have a donut. I have changed my mind. Would you like a donut? I want the blue one and the yellow one. No, you cannot have a donut. I have changed my mind. Would you like a donut? No, go away. Would you like a donut? I want them all. Then bring me some more. No, you cannot have a donut. I have changed my mind. Why do you think he's changing his mind when the animals give their responses? Would anyone else like a donut? May I have a donut? Please, Mr. Panda. Look at the good manners used there. You can have them all. Thank you very much. I love donuts. You're welcome. I don't like donuts. Oh, he ate so much he went to sleep at the end. And so using please and thank you is very important. And our next story is Who Needs Donuts? By Mark Allen Stamety. And the pictures have a lot to look at in each of the pages. Sam lived with his family in a nice house. He had a big yard and lots of friends. But he wanted donuts. Not just a few, but hundreds and thousands and millions. More donuts than his mother and father could ever buy him. Finally, one day he hopped on his tricycle and rode away to a big city. To look for donuts. He didn't find any until he met a man with a big wagon full of donuts. "Hello," said the man. "My name is Mr. Bickford, and you look like a boy who wants some donuts. I collect them, but it is very hard work for one person. Would you like to help me?" "Oh boy," said Sam. He climbed into Mr. Bickford's wagon, and off they went. As they rolled through the streets, they passed a sad old woman sitting on the doorstep. "Who needs donuts?" she shouted. "That's right. Who needs donuts when you've got love?" A few minutes later, they stopped in front of a huge warehouse. Mr. Bickford unlocked the door, and Sam walked into the darkness. Then the lights went on. He saw more donuts than he ever imagined there could be. While Mr. Bickford emptied the wagon, Sam ate and played in the donuts. Then they went collecting. Mr. Bickford knew all the best places to look, and Sam learned his job very fast. Together they collected so many donuts that their wagon broke down. Sam went looking for a telephone to call a repairman, but every phone he saw was out of order. At last he found a woman with a big wagon full of pretzels. Her name was Pretzel Annie, and she had a telephone with a direct line to a wagon repairman. While Sam helped the repairman fix the wagon, something wonderful was happening between Mr. Bickford and Pretzel Annie. For the first moment they saw each other, they fell in love. By the time the wagon was fixed, they decided to get married and open a pretzel store. Mr. Bickford gave Sam the wagon and all the donuts in it. "Don't you want to collect donuts anymore?" said Sam. "Who needs donuts?" said Mr. Bickford, and he and Pretzel Annie ran off together. A moment later, the sad old woman came walking by. "That's right," she said. "Who needs donuts when you've got love?" Suddenly, Sam found himself all alone in a big city with a wagon full of donuts. He took a bite of one, but he was too full to eat it, and the idea of collecting more didn't seem like any fun without Mr. Bickford. "What am I going to do with all these donuts? He asked himself as he trudged down the street. Meanwhile, the sad old woman had gone home to her tiny room in the basement of a coffee factory, where she lay down for her afternoon nap. She didn't get much sleep, however, because at that moment a wild bull was escaping from the pet shop next door. It charged into the coffee factory, butted a hole in a giant vat of coffee, and ran away. The coffee poured out all over the floor, down a stairway, and into the basement. When the old woman woke up, she found herself over her head in a room full of lukewarm coffee. "Help! Save me!" she cried. "I can't swim." Sam heard her screams, but he couldn't swim either, so he had to think fast. He pulled the donut wagon over to the window. "Who needs donuts?" cried the old woman. "You do!" cried Sam. He tilted the wagon and poured all the donuts into the basement. The donuts soaked up the coffee, leaving the old woman sitting in a shallow puddle. "You and your donuts saved my life," she said. "How can I ever repay you?" She offered him her meager life savings to buy more donuts, but Sam refused. "Who needs donuts?" he said. "I've got love." He said goodbye and hopped on his tricycle and rode home. And Sam lived with his family at his house. The end. Okay. I have a little song for you, and it's an old camp song. So I will show it to you one time, and then we'll do it a second time, so that way you can do it with me. It's called the Donut Song, and it goes, "Well, I ran around the corner and I ran around the block and I ran right into a donut shop and I picked up a donut and I wiped off the grease and I handed the lady a 5-cent piece. Well, she looked at the nickel and she looked at me and she said, 'This money isn't good, you see. There's a hole in the middle and it goes right through.' And I said, 'There's a hole in the donut too. Thanks for the donut. Toodaloo.'" That's pretty fun. We'll do it one more time, and we can maybe speed it up a little bit so you can do it with us. "Well, I ran around the corner and I ran around the block and I ran right into a donut shop and I picked up a donut and I wiped off the grease and I handed the lady a 5-cent piece. Well, she looked at the nickel and she looked at me and she said, 'This money isn't good, you see. There's a hole in the middle and it goes right through.' And I said, 'There's a hole in the donut too. Thanks for the donut. Toodaloo.'" That's a fun one. Our next book is a counting book called The Baker's Dozen. And a dozen means 12, but a baker's dozen means 13. All right. The baker takes great care to make one cream eclair. In the oven, he bakes 2 German chocolate cakes. In the tins, the perfect size, he bakes 3 cherry pies. The icing drips and runs atop 4 sticky buns. I hear rhyming words in these pages. Do you hear rhyming words? Let's listen at the next page. He rolls the dough and then he cuts 5 cookie men. Then and then, they rhyme. They have the same ending sound. With fruit from mixing bowls, he fills 6 jelly rolls. On doilies shaped like hearts, he places 7 tarts. With icing, he draws doodles on top of 8 warm strudels. Marshmallow slowly heats to make 9 crispy treats. With nuts of many sorts, he bakes 10 little torts. He measures with teaspoons 11 macaroons. He knows just what it takes to make 12 small cupcakes. And 12 means 1 dozen, but a baker's dozen has 1 extra. At last his job's complete. Now 13 folks to greet. And here we can count all the way to 13. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Good job. Grab the last book here. And our last book is another Mr. Panda book by Steve Anthony, and it is titled Wait Mr. Panda. And think about the good manners and the bad manners that were just shown in the first Mr. Panda book. And let's see if we can find some in this one. What are you making, Mr. Panda? Wait and see. It's a surprise. No, I will not wait. Goodbye. I'll wait, Mr. Panda. Are you making cookies, Mr. Panda? Wait and see. It's a surprise. No, waiting is too hard. Goodbye. I'll wait, Mr. Panda. Are you making cupcakes, Mr. Panda? Wait and see. It's a surprise. Nope, I'm done waiting. Goodbye, 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 goodbye. I'll wait, Mr. Panda. Is it ready yet, Mr. Panda? No, wait here. I don't like waiting. Goodbye. I'll wait, Mr. Panda. I'm waiting, Mr. Panda. Surprise! Wow, that was worth the wait. I know. Thank you, Mr. Panda. I can't wait to eat it. The end. Thanks for joining us for story time. Make sure you check out social media accounts and our website for updates on programs and any other library updates. We do have a nonfiction reading challenge for your kids and teens at your local library. So ask for details and check the website for details. Bye.